I think I've changed jobs, I guess I've changed jobs maybe every about 2 years, 2.5. So it's okay to want to see new scenery and to get a new job as long as you sort of stay within your industry, because in the end, it'll make you a stronger person because you'll understand all the elements of everybody's jobs.
From the cubicle to the lab, the studio to the war room, climbing the corporate ladder, or joining a scrappy startup, experience a day in the life of the jobs you want.
You're now listening to the Experience a Diddle podcast. You'll hear from professionals, entrepreneurs, and recent grads, all inspiring you to gain experience beyond the classroom and launch a career of your own.
We're your hosts, Chris DeBow
and Matt Poe.
Do you consider yourself a creative? Maybe you're someone who's constantly inspired and feels the need to bring that inspiration to life. Want to learn what it takes to face one of the world's most competitive yet rewarding industries? Welcome to the first installment of Experience a Diddle's Fashion Forward Thinking series with Parker's head fashion designer, Emmy Bunn. In today's Experience episode, we're going to go over Emmy's resume leading up to where she is today. What inspired you to get into the fashion industry in the first place?
Originally, I wanted to be an architect. I think, constructing things from the ground up, whether it's a house or clothing. And I realized early on that architecture requires a certain amount of math, and it's a longer term project to build a building. So clothing was the sort of runner up. It deals with proportion and things like that. So I got into fashion.
Awesome.
Are you one of those people who just feel the urge to create something?
Yes.
Just whatever it is, that's kind of what the sense I'm getting.
Yeah, I mean, you never stop thinking about, it's the reason I moved to New York. I think there's so much stimulus. You see the color of yellow and a stop sign, and it makes you think of a dress. And what if the dress was pleated? And what if it was long? What if it was short? Oh, I saw this girl walking. And, there's just, my mind never stops thinking. I dream about it. I wake up. I sew in my mind. I draw in my mind. And, live it every day.
She fell in love with fashion and wanted to get her foot in the door ASAP, but not without some education under her belt first.
What made you choose getting the associate's degree over going to a 4-year school right off the bat?
I think I just really wanted to get out in the industry and work. I think fashion's sort of a craft, and you learn it as you're doing it. I also probably have a inclination against authority. I don't want to be taught it. I want to do it.
Yeah.
And make an impact and get out there in the industry. And I was just really eager to learn. And I felt like tests and projects, like I wanted my project and my tests to be the real world.
To do something.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get out there the quickest way possible. So that meant a 2-year degree and get a job. And my experience instead of 2 years in college was, I guess, 2 years on the job. So I kind of got a head start on my friends, I guess,
So you were working through your associate's degree?
I interned at K2 because I'm from Seattle originally. So,
okay. What is K2?
Oh, K2 is a ski wear brand. Is a ski wear brand out of Seattle. So Seattle, that's something I guess when you're picking your college, where your college is based might be your specialty, I suppose. If you go to fashion school in California, you might work for a surf company or a skate company or something. And if you're in New York, the chances of working for, an evening wear company or a high-end or more fashion-forward company is a contender there. So
nice. And then would you advise college students to do the same nowadays, or do you think times have changed, getting a 2-year associate's degree and then moving on to jumping right into the workforce?
It's funny. People ask me that a lot, and I think in some ways a 2-year degree is looked down upon. However, when I interview candidates, I don't sort of look at how long they went to school. I look at their raw talent. So I might be biased towards that. However, I think if you're talented, you're talented, and it doesn't matter what college you went to or how long you went. It's the potential in the person. So And I think you have to do what's right for you. If you feel like you have to go to a 4-year school, go to a 4-year. If you feel like you have to do your master's, do your master's. If you want to go to London, go to London. You know, like
Nice.
if you just follow your instinct, you'll probably be okay.
From Seattle, Emmy journeyed to New York City, one of the fashion capitals of the world. There she enrolled at the Fashion Institute of Technology in Chelsea.
I think I realized pretty quickly that I wanted to get into the industry. So I did 1 semester at FIT, and while I was doing that, I was interning at BCBG in New York. So I was in the sales, their sales showroom, and that was interesting because I got an idea of what it was like to work on the sales side, whereas I'm on the design side currently. So, that's why it's so important with internships. Maybe you don't always want to say no to an internship because you never know what you're going to learn from it. You'll always apply it to the bigger picture.
You were on the sales floor?
The sales floor,
okay.
yeah. So they were, just hustling and selling clothes and the runway show, and they had their sales goals, and it was really allowed me to see the other side of what my job is.
Her first job after her semester at FIT was back in Washington State at Nordstrom. Yep, that Nordstrom.
I got it through a girl I went to school with.
Okay.
So, be on good terms with your classmates, and, those connections, she vouched for me. She got a job at Nordstrom before I did, and my resume was sort of fast-tracked to HR, got a job at Nordstrom, and they had a really cool program where they sort of put you in kind of like a think tank sort of talent pool. So you'd almost sit in an office, and then anyone in Nordstrom in the organization on the design side could call and say, I need a print designer, I need a trim person, or someone's on maternity leave, and you'd be zoomed up to that office, and you'd get experience for maybe 2 months there, or 3 months, or 2 weeks, or so it allowed you, and that's something specific that Nordstrom does to sort of see people's talents and where they lie, which is really smart of them, I think.
While she was learning a lot and enjoyed her time at Nordstrom, she had a tough choice to make during a tough time in the fashion industry.
It was the stock market crashed, I think, and it was before September 11th. I'm dating myself here, but Eddie Bauer called, and they had a good offer, and so I left, and Nordstrom counter offered, and I think that that's something that's going to happen to people in their life, and you have to kind of really think, do I want the money or do I want the experience, and sort of what drives you?
Right. So what tip the scale for this experience?
Just something new, a new company, new people to work with, new office environment, and the opportunity for something else. So, but yeah, I went to Eddie Bauer and designed backpacks and purses and accessories, and then they had a reorganization, and then I designed denim, and then they had another reorganization, and then I designed tops. So the fashion industry is
Very
really
flexible,
you
yeah.
think your job is one thing, and it changes. And I think I realized, this is maybe 20 years ago, but you have to be flexible. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you just have to roll with the punches and just be like, great, that sounds good.
Awesome.
She was at Eddie Bauer for a little over 2 years when New York City was calling her name.
So the story that I've been hearing for about a month now since we started talking about getting this podcast going was that you had Ralph Lauren over your shoulder at one point. Can you tell us about that?
This is correct. Yeah, I was at Ralph Lauren for about 10 almost 10 years.
Okay.
And again, I got that job. I moved from Seattle out to New York, and people sent me with maybe 3 phone numbers on a piece of paper. These are some people you should call. And one of those people I called, didn't email, I called, and left a message on their phone. And I just said, I'll do anything. Like, what job do you have at Ralph Lauren? And they called me back. Actually, they called me 3 times. I missed the first 2 calls.
Oh, boy.
It went to voicemail.
Did they leave a voicemail, or was
They
it just a
left.
missed call?
They left 1 voicemail. I missed that. They left a 2nd voicemail. I missed that, and then I heard the 3rd one where they were like, "I'm just calling to triple check that you aren't interested." And I was like, "Oh no." So I was like, "I'll meet with you tomorrow." So Yeah, that was a flip phone, I think, probably.
How spaced out were those phone calls? Were they like days or hours?
I think it was like every 3 days.
Okay.
But, I had just moved to New York, and I think I was like meeting the moving truck, and my mattress was being delivered, and it went to voicemail, and I didn't realize it. And I just got a new, you move to a new city, and there's just lots of stuff that happens, and the job part fell to the wayside. So, but I think if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. So they called me back, and I just took whatever they had. So I freelanced, and there was a closet that used to have like buckets and mops for the janitor, and they turned it into a little office, and they fit 3 of us in there, and I just did whatever they asked, and I just watched what everybody was doing, how they talked to each other, how their emails were written, and just observed. And I was in tech design for knitwear for them. Okay. And then 10 years later, with Ralph over my shoulder, that is, I left doing Ralph Lauren Collection, which is the runway show.
Okay.
So twice a year they do a huge runway show. They used to show in Bryant Park, and now they have sort of remote, exotic locations. I was a fashion illustrator and designer for them. Mm-hmm. So we went with Ralph maybe 3 times a week, and he likes to be inspired. He likes to talk about things, and it's when he talks, as he talks, you sketch it for him in front of him, almost just real life, and it materializes on paper. And then he says he loves it, and then it goes down a runway. So it's pretty intense, but
that is so cool. So most people probably would have killed for that job. What made you decide to leave and freelance for a while?
Well, the pace is fairly intense, but really I wanted to focus on art and to draw, and going freelance allowed me to draw for lots of different companies, to draw for Tommy Hilfiger or draw for Marchesa, and just to draw lots of different kinds of clothes, nice. Evening gowns and t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff, and just kind of expand my horizons on an artistic level.
For those of you who want to broaden your horizons, listen up. Emmy wants you to know something.
Freelancing, I think it sounds really glamorous, and I think for some people it probably is. It is. I personally realized it's a hustle, and you're a one-man show, and you are the accounts payable department, and you are the marketing department, and you are the talent. So you have to pay your rent. So that ties into a little bit about a side hustle and whatnot, but it's a lot of work. Gotcha. I was doing it, and I liked it, but the opportunity came along to work at Parker. So
then you went from freelancing to Parker.
Correct. Yeah. So I was freelancing at home, in my studio, and I got a job at Parker, and they were a tiny company. I think there was like 7 to 10 employees. And I came on to sort of grow the company. So that could mean anything from creating infrastructure in terms of like a shared drive, like something simple like that, to tech sheets, Excel, email, processes, elevating the product.
Awesome. So do you straddle like design and marketing then? Like, are you?
Yeah, and I do, I guess. Yeah, when you, by nature, I guess I've been doing this for a while. So if you, I think I've changed jobs, I guess I've changed jobs maybe every about 2 years, 2.5. So, that would, I guess, be advice to give, that it's okay to want to see new scenery and to get a new job, as long as you sort of stay within your industry, because in the end, it'll make you a stronger person, because you'll understand all the elements of everybody's jobs.
Hearing Emmy's story, we know it takes pure passion and love for fashion, art, and culture to work in this fast-paced, intense industry. That passion radiates as well in Emmy's A Diddle episode. Listen to Emmy's A Day in the Life episode next to experience exactly what a head fashion designer does hour by hour.
Thanks for listening. Each week, we bring you interviews from professionals in the jobs that you want, highlighting each guest's career experience on Mondays, a day in the life on Wednesdays, and their advice to you on Fridays.
Visit our website, experienceadiddle.com, to find the show notes for this episode with all relevant links and photos. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook at Experience a Diddle. That's Experience ADITL. And of course, we're here to help all students make more informed career decisions. Visit our website to read all A Diddle articles from all different jobs and careers interviewed, written, and published for students by students. You can sign up to join the A Diddle Army at experienceadiddle.com/students, and let's grow together.
We want to pay for your textbooks. As an ongoing contest, at the end of each semester, we'll randomly pick a winner from our subscribers who wrote us a review and buy all of their textbooks. So hit subscribe and tell us what you think about the show, and remember, you will be great.